Hey, welcome. Have you ever looked at someone who has, just a handful of really close friends and thought, wow, they seem perfectly happy? Well, today we're going to dig into exactly that, the fascinating psychology behind keeping your circle small. So let's just jump right in with a big question. Think about your own social life for a second. How do you measure it? Is it about the sheer quantity of contacts in your phone? Or is it all about the quality, the real, deep conversations you're having? We're kind of taught this popularity myth, right? The idea that being happy means having a calendar that's just packed with social events and a ton of acquaintances. But the reality, for a lot of us, it's actually the opposite. True happiness comes from having just a few deep connections, people who give you genuine support. It's that classic quality over quantity thing. So, what's actually going on inside our heads that makes some of us lean towards that smaller, tighter circle? All right, let's get into the psychology of being a little more selective.
And look, having this preference isn't some kind of social flaw. Not at all. It's usually tied directly to our core personality. If you're an introvert, or maybe a highly sensitive person, you probably know that one deep conversation feels way more rewarding than a dozen surface-level chats. It's all about valuing those really strong one-on-one bonds.
Okay, let's talk about something called social energy. This is a great way to think about it. Picture it like the battery on your phone. Every social interaction you have, especially the small talk, drains that battery a little bit. People who keep a smaller circle, they're often just really tuned into their social battery. They choose to spend their energy on the people and conversations that actually recharge them instead of the ones that just drain them flat.
But hey, it's not just about saving your energy. There are some seriously powerful real-world benefits to keeping that circle small. So let's really unpack this idea that less is more.
Okay, first big one. Deeper trust. It's simple, right? When you aren't trying to maintain connections with tons of people, you can pour all that time and energy into just a few. And what does that do? It builds this rock-solid foundation of trust. You know without a doubt who's got your back.
And come on, let's be real. Who couldn't use less drama in their life? A smaller, more intentional group of friends just naturally leads to fewer misunderstandings, less of that weird social game playing, and way less stress. It's about building a zone of peace and support.
And this might be the most important part. When things get really tough, a huge network might send you a bunch of thoughts and prayers texts, but your small circle, they provide genuine support. They're the ones who actually show up at your door, who really listen, who help you carry that weight. There's a huge difference.
So this isn't just about personality or wanting less drama. It gets even more interesting. There's some actual science that suggests our brains might just be hardwired for this.
So let me just throw this question out there. What if your brain has a built-in biological limit to how many friends it can actually handle?
The number is 150. Now I know, in a world of 1,000 social media followers, 150 might not sound like a big deal. But from a brain science perspective, it's huge. This idea is called Dunbar's number, named after an anthropologist named Robin Dunbar. Basically, he figured out that the part of our brain that handles complex stuff, the neocortex, well, it has a limit. It can only handle so much social information. See, maintaining a real relationship takes a ton of brain power.
And that 150 isn't just one big blob of people. Think of it in layers, like an onion. You've got your 150 meaningful contacts on the outside. But as you go deeper, it gets smaller. You have about 50 friends, then around 15 close friends, and right at the very center, your inner circle. That's maybe 5 people. These are the ones you'd call at 3 a.m. with a real crisis.
So, when you put all of this together, it really feels like it's time to redefine what social wealth even means, because it's pretty clear it's not a numbers game.
I love this quote because it just nails it. A small circle isn't antisocial, it's selectively social. It's about being intentional, about choosing where you invest your 2 most valuable assets, your time and your energy.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's pretty simple, really. First, choosing quality over quantity isn't just okay, it's a totally valid and healthy way to live. Second, your social style is just part of who you are, it's not some scorecard of your self-worth. And finally, the most important thing, real connection is and will always be about depth, not just a head count.
And that brings us to the final question, the one for you to think about. After hearing all this, from personality traits to the actual limits of our brains, I gotta ask,